Taylor, we're here today at a recently finished project out at Lake Franklin in Minnesota. And I just wanted to talk through some features, ask you some questions, and I really wanted to dig into, it seems like you have a fantastic relationship with the clients. So if you can maybe tell us and what their experience was on this project, and maybe give prospective clients a look into what their experience might be like and why these clients' experience in particular was just really good, and how they have amazing things to say about you in the process would be, I think, helpful.
Yeah. So, these clients came to us, they had just a kind of like an idea drawn on a napkin. They had come up with an idea of what they want to do here.
Is that pretty common, that we have a napkin sketch?
Not very common, but definitely something that we can work with. Yeah.
A lot of ideas start there.
Yeah.
with a pretty rudimentary idea.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, they had this like a legit napkin. They were at a little coffee shop, had a vision on how to create a space that they could incorporate events and family functions. They're big in hosting family and friends. So
because this isn't their main.
This is not their main house. They have another house, and this is right across the street from their existing house. And so they have a lot of family friends come visit a lot. Wanted another space that they can utilize for those type of events. So again, started with a napkin. They had this vision. We met with them and kind of talked about like how our process works, how we were able to take this napkin sketch and turn it into a building.
And who is involved in the architecture for this build?
So on this one, we used Mabled Studios. They're out of Fargo,
okay,
North Dakota. So we took this napkin, worked with the clients on like kind of understanding their vision, the things they want in this place, what's important to them. Brought that information to the architect, sat with them, worked through the vision, the space, some of the things the clients were really looking for.
Earlier today, we were on site. We were talking with the clients, and there was a couple of stories that I heard that were really interesting. And one of them was right before construction really took off. I think that there were some changes, and I think that people would be interested to know, how does that stuff get handled? Because in construction, as we both know, I mean, things change, and people may have a new idea that they want to implement, and it might be either during construction or right before construction starts. And how do you handle that? How do you handle those changes?
When you have this, you work with these clients, and one thing I think that's really important to our process, when we're working with you, is ultimately the experience that you have. So we love to listen. We love to add value in like what we've done, our experiences, what works, what doesn't work. And in this particular case, we had started this project, developed a spec, an estimate, a plan, and we laid it all out. We thought we had a good gauge on everything. And right before we started actually construction, the clients, we met with them on site, talked about where to position the house in the lot, how they're gonna use this space when it's done. And kind of from those conversations, they were kind of looking at the site later on and came back to me and were like, hey, I know we're about to start, but like we really wanna add another 10 feet to this space. And we listened to like why they wanted to do that, the value that they could add to their project if they did that. So I was like, let me make a couple calls and to see how fast we can turn this around. And we did that, and we're like, all right, let's do it. It seemed like a great idea to extend this whole side of the house another 10 feet. And one thing I think is really important is that we're willing to like work with the client, listen to the client, and we're truly after trying to figure out what your intent is for the space, and we want to do everything we can to make that happen.
And I think one thing, just to even expand a little bit further on on one of the biggest benefits to involving us as builders in the actual, the pre-construction process early and part of the architectural process is the fact that we do have a lot of value, I think, to add, and I think it's actually pretty uncommon that builders are as involved as we are in the pre-construction design process. And we love to be kind of in the trenches with the clients as part of that process, because if there's things that we notice from a constructability standpoint or from a cost standpoint, I mean, we can bring them up before they become an issue. And I think that in your situation, so they wanted to add 10 feet. If we weren't involved in the initial pre-construction process, that change would have taken much longer than if we were, which we in fact were in this case, involved in that process. So I think that's a really big advantage of bringing us in as builders early.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.